Drawing! Hi, how are you? I don't know why that's funny. So hello, today I would like to show you some drawings that I did. So I was going through my photography school notebooks and I noticed that in a lot of classes I would doodle. I would do little drawings, and some classes I was having more doodling sessions than others because I was probably bored, and other classes where I was getting a lot of information, there's no doodles at all. But thank goodness that some of those classes were really boring and I was able to doodle and I could present some of those drawings to you. Now that might not sound like a really interesting topic for a video, but if you look at it like this, handwriting analysis, right? You write your handwriting and your signature and people look at it and they say, oh, I can tell what kind of personality you have by your handwriting. Maybe you can do that with doodles, you know, doodle analysis. Or drawing analysis. Anyway, I just wanted to show you some of my drawings that I did in my class notebooks, and maybe you can make heads or tails about my personality just from these drawings. So for the first one, this is from my still life class, and this is a basic Nathan doodle. I like circles, I like lines, I like really simple stuff, and this one I actually drew sunglasses, which is unusual for me to actually draw an object that is recognizable. Mostly I'm just drawing shapes and stuff, and you can see by that N that's right there, I love to draw lines. And I was always looking for like a logo for my name, because my name starts with an N, Nathan. And so I was always looking for like an N logo that I could make. So I would practice doing the N with all kinds of different extras to make it look cool. And so you see the N right there. And then on another page in my still life class, you can see I was doing something really eccentric with the N. I made little spiral circles and dots, and I like little sparkly things shooting off of the lines or the dots, and I don't know what that thing is below it. But that's the kind of drawings that I did in class. Let's look at some more, since you're having such a good time. At least I hope you are. Let's look at Still Life 2 class. So in this one, I actually drew a forest and a woodpecker, at least I think it's a woodpecker, pecking at the tree. And then that little shape there, I don't know what that is, but that's the kind of thing I do. I draw little lines and I draw things shooting off of the lines. And I'm not exactly sure what they mean. And on this one, I remember I enjoyed doing this, but I would start with a point and just kind of make little lines from that one point that kind of shoot off from that point like little fireworks or little comets. And that's the kind of thing that I did. So let's look at some more. This one I did in location lighting. I think I was trying to figure out some still life shots I was going to do with a martini glass, or I was just drawing random stuff. I'm not sure. This is also from location lighting. Okay, so I'm doing stuff with the N again, and that shape right there in the middle that kind of looks like a saxophone. I remember drawing stuff like that in high school, and I like the little sparks shooting off the lines. And yeah, I kind of like the saxophone. I kind of liked that logo, and I always wanted to use it for something. And I don't know what that other thing is. That looks kind of a squiggly line with a little castle thing going on. And I don't know what these little lines are. I was drawing a map of some kind, or maybe they were electrical cords or something like that. And this was in graphic design class in 2007, and I guess I drew a futuristic city. I enjoyed drawing buildings with lines and putting the buildings behind the buildings and kind of creating a 3D thing, and then I've got a mountain in the background. And this next one, I think I was playing the little Space Invader game. Have you ever played that? So you take a piece of paper and you got your pen and you make little triangles on this side and maybe circles on the other side of the piece of the paper. And you put your pen or pencil like that and you zip, and where the line ends is where your little spaceship moved. And you try to get close to each other, and then you indicate whether you're going to move or you're going to blast them with a laser, and you do that. And I used to do this all the time. And so I think that's what this picture is that I was playing laser spaceship paper in class. Have you figured out my personality yet? Let's look at some more. So this one, I actually drew a picture. So there's the sun and a couple of trees, and maybe that's a fence. I'm not sure. Okay, now we're getting wild, because I don't know what this is. This is a map or a maze or a city, and then right next there's a lamp with a little thing with the chain on it. So I understand what that is, but I don't know what this wacky thing. So what does this say about me? About my personality, that I like lines and circles and sharp edges and, you know, defined things. I really don't draw pictures. I draw shapes. And man, I'm not sure what that means. Like this picture. This is a whole bunch of shapes. And I'm doing stuff with the N again, but I got circles and lines and squiggly shooting off things. And you can see right there on the points, I like to have little sparkly things shooting off of the points. And I do like the shape of the rectangle making way for the circle. And I'm not sure what that means. So let's take a look at something else besides shapes. This one I drew fishies. There's some fishies enjoying beverages. This guy's got some cocoa or something, and his friend's got a martini, and there's the fish swimming under a tropical island, and that's my version of a palm tree. And here we go, really into the ends, where I'm really trying to make logos, and maybe this will be my logo one day with the N, but man, look how exciting. I was trying to make the letter N look. And I was doing it again here, among other shapes. Now let's get into drawing some people. So here's a dude climbing some kind of weird mountain that is dripping, and he's outside of town. This looks very Grinch, Dr. Seuss kind of weird thing. I'm not sure. And then, of course, we've got lines and circles again. And this one I found really interesting. So this is like 3 years apart. So here is a drawing I did of people in some kind of downtown city or crossing, intersection, or maybe it's a hallway of some kind. I did this in Photography 100 in the fall of 2003. This is my very first photography class. I did this weird picture in of people. And then 3 years later, in the spring of 2006, in advanced digital printing, I did another picture of people hanging out kind of in a city area. And they kind of look similar, but I don't have any other pictures that look like this, where they're just kind of people hanging out in intersections. These are the only two, and they're like 3 years apart. And either that first picture was in my unconscious and it bubbled up, or maybe I don't know why. It was weird that these pictures look similar, but they're 3 years apart, and I didn't intend them to look like that, because I never go back and really look at the other doodles. I just make more doodles. It was just interesting that those are similar. And then this one is totally different. This one is a bunch of pointy lines put together. Maybe it's kind of a weird pine cone thing, I'm not sure. And then I have these shapes up here. I'm not sure what they are either, but gosh, don't they look fun? And then we got this weird thing going on. I don't know what that is. And then here's some more random lines. And then this was a dude opening a lampshade, I think. And then he's got some mountains out there, and then maybe that's Superman's spaceship that he arrived to Earth in. I don't know what that is. And then finally, here is, I know what this is. I was in visualization photography class where we try to think up cool picture ideas, and this is one of the ideas I had, was somebody steps in wet paint, and then they have footprints walking over a chair. So anyway, I just wanted to share those with you because, I bet you doodle too. I bet you draw stuff and we don't really think about it. You know, we just draw stuff and, you know, we throw it away or it goes in some notebook. We never look at it again. But if you go back and you look at your drawings and your doodles, maybe it says something about your personality or what you were going through at that time in your life. Do you draw lines? Do you draw shapes? Do you draw pictures? Do you draw really well? You probably draw a lot better than I do. But, you know, maybe you should go back to your notebooks and take a look and see what you've got there. Maybe you've got something really cool that you could make into even more advanced, expand upon that art that you did, those doodles ideas, and make a cool picture and post them on social media. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to show you those doodles just for fun. And I hope you're still watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I will be back next week with a much more exciting video than this one. But I thought this was rather fun. At least I hope it was. Anyway, what do you think about my pictures? What do you think it says about my personality? I'm curious. The shapes and the lines and the circles and weird stuff. I hope it's a good thing. Have a great week and have a great day and have a great life. See ya.